Susanna Reid was challenged by a church abuse survivor on Good Morning Britain after she asked him to share graphic details. The GMB presenter interviewed Richard Giddens, one of 130 boys and young men abused by John Smyth. Yesterday, Archbishop of Canterbury Justin Welby announced his resignation over his handling of the abuse case. The Makin review concluded that Smyth, a prolific abuser associated with the Church of England, might have faced justice had Mr. Welby formally alerted authorities in 2013. Smyth, who was a lay reader and led Christian summer camps, died aged 75 in Cape Town in 2018. He was under investigation by Hampshire police and was never brought to justice for the abuse, the review published last week said. On today's GMB show, Susanna interviewed Richard Giddens, one of Smyth's victims. Richard challenged her at the start of the interview, asking whether she was trying to get graphic details of abuse from him. Susanna said, "Richard, while being entirely sensitive, I just wonder whether you can just remind us of the abuse that John Smyth QC dealt out to boys and young men. In all of the story of the resignation of the Archbishop of Canterbury, we must not lose sight of the actual crimes of the individual. At the heart of this is John Smyth QC, who is dead and will not face accountability for what he did to you and 130 other boys and young men." Richard said, "Yes. So you want a graphic reminder? Is that what you are asking for?" Susanna said, "No. I'm asking what you can tell us, what you are prepared to tell us." She added, "I'm not asking you to go into graphic detail. It was shocking." Richard said, "It happened a long time ago. It is shocking." Susanna said, "Yes. What can you tell us?" Richard said, "Well, it happened in my second year at university, and it started off as a fairly tame beating, if I can say that, to show to myself and to God that I was committed in my life as a Christian. But over time, they turned into something severe, and throughout my second year, I would go on a weekly basis down to his house. I would be beaten on a 3-weekly basis, and it probably ended up with about 200 lashings at a time. They would cause my bottom to bleed, and I would need nappies to stop the blood soaking onto my trousers. That is how bad it got." Yesterday, Justin Welby acknowledged the review found that he had personally failed to ensure it was energetically investigated. In a statement issued by Lambeth Palace, Mr. Welby said, "Having sought the gracious permission of His Majesty the King, I have decided to resign as Archbishop of Canterbury." The Makin review has exposed the long-maintained conspiracy of silence about the heinous abuses of John Smyth. When I was informed in 2013 and told that police had been notified, I believed wrongly that an appropriate resolution would follow. It is very clear that I must take personal and institutional responsibility for the long and re-traumatizing period between 2013 and 2024. It is my duty to honor my constitutional and church responsibilities. So exact timings will be decided once a review of necessary obligations has been completed, including those in England and in the Anglican Communion. I hope this decision makes clear how seriously the Church of England understands the need for change and our profound commitment to creating a safer church. As I step down, I do so in sorrow with all victims and survivors of abuse. The last few days have renewed my long-felt and profound sense of shame at the historic safeguarding failures of the Church of England. For nearly 12 years, I have struggled to introduce improvements. It is for others to judge what has been done. In the meantime, I will follow through on my commitment to meet victims. I will delegate all my other current responsibilities for safeguarding until the necessary risk assessment process is complete. This comes after private words were exchanged between King and Archbishop before Starmer's statement this morning. However, the conversation was between intermediaries, and they did not speak directly or meet in person. Public words from King Charles about Mr. Welby will be released when he officially leaves his role, rather than after his resignation. This is not a snub, but the process and protocol.